Dynasty Warriors is a long-running series from Koei Tecmo and Omega Force that's become so popular in recent years and is such a versatile format that there have been just a ridiculous number of spin-offs, ranging from games like Samurai Warriors to Hyrule Warriors and anime adaptations like Fist of the North Star and Berserk. I've played probably about 90% of these spin-offs because I love Warriors games so much, and yet somehow I've never played a mainline Dynasty Warriors games until now with Dynasty Warriors 9. Its main selling point running up to release was how it had gone open world, so why don't we find out how it fares? The story is basically the same as every other Dynasty Warriors game, semi-accurately covering the events of the Chinese historical document Record of the Three Kingdoms. I say semi-accurately because a lot of the events and battles did happen, but famous historical figures like Cao Cao and Liu Bei didn't have magic or single-handedly take out hundreds of thousands of enemy units. It's an interesting enough story and covers most, if not all, of the significant events from history. From a format perspective, the story is split up into 13 chapters, and you choose a character to play as from the different factions and follow them through their story. There are 94 characters, and with each character's individual story taking roughly 30 hours to complete, give or take, seeing everyone's story will take you quite a long time. Although don't get too excited, a lot of the characters' missions cross over, so you'll be playing a lot of the same content, just with a different character. When it comes to the gameplay, if you've ever played a Warriors game before, you'll know what to expect here. If you haven't though, Warriors games basically come down to using normal and heavy attacks to plough through hundreds and hundreds of disposable units. In this sense, Dynasty Warriors 9 is the same as ever. You've still got your strong, regular and special moves with the addition now of trigger attacks, allowing you to launch, stun or knock down opponents and use follow-up attacks. It's kind of the closest thing we've got these days to character action games like DMC and Metal Gear Rising. There's also a crafting system that allows you to create weapons and accessories to power up your character. Any character can use any weapon as well, unlike the other games, with each character having favourite weapons that grant them extra abilities, so it's more a character's story and special moves that differentiate them now than a whole moveset. Speaking of weapons, there are so many to choose from that no matter what your playstyle, it won't take long to find one that suits you. Where Warriors 9 differs the most from previous games is in its open world design. Before, the games were split up into levels, which were largish arenas with bases to capture dotted around them. Capturing these bases would progress the level and make it easier to capture the enemy's main base and complete the level. 9 follows a similar format, but in an enormous open world. You're given a main quest to complete and side quests which, once completed, will make the main quest easier. There are also smaller bases along the roads to each quest which, when captured, will free up a path for AI allies to faster reach their destination and help you out. In terms of open world design, despite the huge open world, it can feel quite empty. You can be travelling for minutes at a time without ever seeing another soul. Luckily for the player though, your horse has an auto-run option where it follows the road to your objective, meaning you can take a break for a few minutes if you don't or can't fast travel. To some, this might be annoying, but I always found after playing a few levels of other Warriors games that I needed to take a break, so this downtime is welcome and allows you to recharge before your next battle. From a presentation standpoint, Dynasty Warriors 9 certainly looks nice. The character models are detailed and the animations are smooth. The load times as well are very impressive given the size of the world. It doesn't take long to get into the game once you start it up. The frame rate's pretty consistent as well. I had a few drops here and there, and even then it was only when there were upwards of 100 characters on screen, so I can't really blame them. There are a few places where it falls down though. Like I mentioned earlier, the world is expansive but empty. Because of this sparseness, it's hard to even tell if the environments look good, because it's mostly empty fields and hills. Additionally, the voice acting is absolutely atrocious, and not in the fun, bad, on purpose Resident Evil 1 you were almost a jibble sandwich kind of way, in a we recorded their first time reading the script and that was it kind of way. My experience doing voiceover is literally the videos on this channel, and I'm confident I can do a better job, even with how awkward some of my earlier videos sound. Just listen to this.
Curses! That blasted Dongzhuo has used the confusion to seize control of the Emperor! All our efforts in getting rid of the 10 eunuchs have been wasted! Any within the palace who dared stand up to his tyranny have been executed. The rest are all too fearful to do anything about it. This is most lamentable. We must slay him with all haste and rescue the Emperor!
That is most admirable of you, Yuan Shao. So, When are you planning to actually make your move? Everybody knows you are the leader behind the anti-Dongzhuo movement. If you do not participate, we will likely miss out.
Well, it's not as easy as you make it sound. Dongzhuo is protected by the mighty Lu Bu. We have to find some way of getting past him first.
He doesn't seem to have much of an aptitude for subtlety. I could hear him all the way down the road. Cao Cao, we received a message from Dongzhuo. It seems he wishes to meet you. Of course, I'm not sure I trust him at all.
It only makes sense that he wants to keep an eye on us. Our lord is old friends with Yuan Shao, and we all know how outspoken he can be.
If Yuan Shao decides to sit back and watch, we'll lose the chance to make our move. We need to find a way to force his hand. As such, I feel now is the time for us to seize the opportunity that lies before us.
Huh. Finally, we're making our move. In that case, let us in on what you've got planned.
Not great, right? Honestly, I'd recommend switching the voice acting to Japanese or Chinese, because they sound a lot better. And in Chinese, it sounds more authentic, if that's your sort of thing. The game lacks variety as well. There's no multiplayer like in every other Warriors game, and although there is a free mode, there's no reason to play it when the story mode covers a lot of the same content between characters, just from a different perspective. You're basically limited to playing the story mode solo, and that's it. Ultimately, while Dynasty Warriors 9 is fun, the lack of polish and variety really holds it back. If you know you like Warriors games, then you'll most likely have a good time here, but if you've always been on the fence or don't like them at all, this won't do anything to change your mind. If I'm honest, unless you're a hardcore Warriors fan and play every game, I'd only really recommend this if Koei Tecmo do what they always do with Warriors games and release an Extreme Legends or Empires version that has its usual buttload of additional modes and content. Thanks for watching. Have you played Dynasty Warriors 9 yourself? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you next time!